Hello, and welcome to the ADMET Predictor command line video. My name is Michael Lawless, and I'm a senior principal scientist here at Simulations Plus. Today I'll be discussing using ADMET Predictor on the command line. So let's get started. This slide discusses some of the generalities of the AP command line. For more details, go to section 1.15, command line, on page 101 of the ADMET Predictor 12 user manual. Command line is supported on Windows and Linux operating systems. You can use it in batch scripts, in shell and Python scripts. Windows executables can be run in the Windows subsystem for Linux, and that's what I'll demonstrate today. I have AP12 aliased as to the executable. So this is program files, Simulations Plus, ADMET Predictor 12, ADMET Predictor .exe. And so if you weren't using an alias, you would have to put this whole string to start the command line. And then if I simply type AP12 on the command line, that's going to start the GUI. So that would just start the GUI and a blank GUI. And then if I issue the same command, but I give it a smiles file, here it will start the program and then open the file. So it would be same as file open. So you get prompted for the smiles string, and then if you want to read in any other data with it. And then finally, if I have an XTK file, it's simply going to open up the XTK file in ADMET Predictor itself. So this would be a saved XTK file. And then if you want to see all of the options, you can do -H, and that'll list the options on the command line. And I'll go through these options, some in more detail than others during this video. If you want to run a command on the command line, the -T option is mandatory, and it tells you what type of input file. In this case, I'm using the smiles file. So the option is -TSMI. And you can see that, if I didn't include this, it would either open this file or not. So let me just go ahead and hit return. And you can see that it loads all the model files, scans the input file, and then processes the commands. And then the output file is this demo2d .dat file, and it's just a tab delimited text file, and we could read it into Excel. So I've got Excel aliased as the Microsoft Word Excel, and then when I issue that command and give it a command file argument, then it simply opens up the file. So this is the .dat file. The first few columns will be what was in the original smiles files, so you have these fields, and then it starts with all the outputted properties from ADMET Predictor. So you'll see, depending on what modules you have licensed, PCB, metabolism, transporters, toxicity, and then at the end here you'll see all the descriptor values in that .dat file. The ADMET Predictor _errors.log file is also produced in this directory, so we can take a quick look at it. It issues the command line and then says that there's no errors from executing the file. Another option is the -N option, -N. So I'll do that as a 7 here. So that's the number of threads to use when processing the file. This is a small file, so it doesn't look like there's a large speed up, but basically uses 7 processors, and then as a processor finishes computing properties for one molecule, it goes on to the next. So it just feeds those. And then of course so I typically use one less than the total number of logical processors when I run the commands. Okay, the next option is the -U option, and specifies the output file. The default is the .dat file, which I just showed you. And then text would be the same as a DAT file, except it would just have a .txt extension. And then the other options are SDF and RDF. And I'll demonstrate SDF really. So the option here is minus TSMI minus USDF. And when I execute this command, the output file will be an SDF file, as I mentioned. And it's going to be demo 2D. So it's going to have the base name of the inputs files and then ADMET underscore 2D.SDF. And the properties will be in the form of name of the attribute, the predicted properties such as pKa, etc. And they'll have an asterisk in front of them. The next option is the -M option that specifies the module. So here you can limit the output to one of the modules, for example, physical chemical properties in biopharmaceuticals, metabolism, toxicity, transporters, or the new DILIsym models. You can also specify whether to do a %FA, %FB calculation using the HTPK simulation module, or a simulated dose where you optimize the dose. You can also get out just user models or descriptors by themselves. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And these can be comma separated. So you can do PCB, comma, MET to get those two together. I'll skip the -G. I don't think that's used as much. -P specifies the pH for the predictions. If you want your solubility at pH 2, you would just specify -P 2.0, and then you would look at the S plus S underscore pH, which is the solubility model at a specified pH. This next option is the -I option, and this specifies that you calculate the ionization descriptors at a specific pH. Now, you want to be careful with this one, because if what these ionization descriptors are things like F-cation, and if F-cation is used in a model as a descriptor in another model, it's typically going to be at pH 7.4. So if the model has that descriptor in it, and you also tell it to calculate the ionization descriptors at this pH, then that model is going to use the pH at this new one. So what I generally recommend, if you want to just do the ionization descriptors, use this -M option and just specify the descriptors. Don't calculate any models in there. Then -A and -B will exclude pKa's above whatever limit you specify, either the upper limit or the lower limit. -O, -N, and -C RDUs include aliphatic OH, amides, or perform carbon protonation on the molecule. So this would affect the pKa's output of the compounds. -K, number of ionizable groups. This is a good one to use because the calculation takes longer the more ionizable groups you have in it. And if you have over 12, you might want to run those in a separate command. So you might want to specify -K12, and then if anything's got more than 12 ionizable groups, it will skip that one. And so it'll make the command run faster, at which point you could determine which ones it had skipped and then go back and run those a little bit further. The -H we've already seen, that's basically a help and to specify and to output what we're looking at here. -R will go through the risks and apply a penalty. So this is the penalty. The default is 0.5. The -X option, something I don't use very often, but if you specify this, then and the prediction is out of scope, it will just put a tilde there instead of the actual prediction. The -Y I do use a lot, and what this will do is it'll create an OTS and a UNC file. The OTS is an out of scope file, and so it'll list each model and each compound And then if there's a 1 in that column, that indicates that the prediction was out of scope for that particular model. And then UNC values will show the uncertainty estimates for the regression models and put them in a separate file with a suffix.unc. This next option, -W, I'll show a few examples. So this is a workflow and affects the output. And so you can specify that the output is either given a medicinal chemist, physical chemist, cheminformatic, or computational chemist. And I'll show a couple examples of how those outputs would differ. I'll use ipramine as an example to show the differences in the workflow output. Let's first look at ipramine's pKa microstate display. So I'll highlight the compound in the GUI and then click on the pKa. And you'll see up in the text here that there's 2 basic atoms, atoms 1 and 5. We can turn on the atom numbers and see that it's this tertiary nitrogen, and atom 5 is this anilino nitrogen. And then you can see the macrostates, the +2 charge where both atoms are protonated. That occurs or has a pKa of 2.0. Then as we increase the pH, one of the protons drops off, and it would drop off from the anilino nitrogen. Now, note that there's 2 ionizable groups, which would generally generate 4 microstates. So the one that's missing here is this deprotonated and this one protonated. And the reason it's not shown is because it occurs in less than 1%. Obviously, this one is 100%, so there can't be anything else. But if I would turn off that to show 0 or ones with 0%, then you'd see this positively charged group here. And then above a pKa 9, the neutral microstate is predominant. We can look at some plots of the distributions of the microstates through here, and then we can also look at the average single proton affinities, or the pK50s. This one here is around 9.02. So the pK50s are very similar to the pKa's, indicating that they don't interact a lot. There's not a lot of mixing of the microstates there. So now let's go on and take a look at output using the various workflows. Okay, and so the command I would use here is AP12 -TSMI -W MC, and then the input file is mc.smi, which just contains the one structure. The output here is going to be called mc_admet_2d.sdf. And I simply read that. And so let's take a look at that file. So we have just a single record. It's going to be in its neutral state. And then we have the SMILES code, the highest pKa, which would be the 9.4. This would be the alkyl nitrogen. And that's atom number 1. And its pK50 is the same as the pKa. Similarly, for the anilino nitrogen, it has a pKa of 2.08. It's atom number 5, and its pK50 is about the same. The predominant charge state is positively charged. So this is just saying that at pH 7.4, 97.7% is in this +1 state. And then this CS number 4 corresponds to positively charged. It was successful, and then it lists the acidic pKa's, of which there's no pK50s. There's no acidic atoms in the molecule. And then for the basic pK50s, it lists the pK50, the atom number 1 associated with that pK50, and then the other pKa. So if we read this output file into ADMET Predictor, you'll simply see the molecule and then all of the attributes that I just discussed. Okay, so now let's switch back and see what the next option is for the workflows. And this is the physical chemist So here we have multiple records per molecule, and each record is the structure of the ionizable macrostates along with their predicted pKa, the overall charge state, and the microstate prevalence of that. At the PC ADMET predictor output here, you'll see that there's 1 record, 2 records, 3 records, and then we'll see the overall charge state, the microstate prevalence, and if it's success. So again, if we read that into ADMET predictor, we get 3 molecules. So these are the 3 microstates listed in the microstate display that I showed in the GUI, and then what percent of their at that particular pH. And then what the pKa microstate is. So this is the 9.04, and then this is the 2.08. Now, let's move on to the cheminformatician. So this is just the structure of the neutral molecule. It's the charge prevalence state and the predominant charge state. So here it's just going to output 1 record, and we'll look at the cheminformatician output here. So a single molecule, it's 97.7% at pH 7.4, and it's a positively charged molecule, and then the charge state, etc. And then the final option is the computational chemist. And this is nice because it produces multiple records per output, but you can specify the pH and then just show the predominant species there. So by default, well, let me show what the defaults are if you output that. So it's the comp chem, and it outputs 2 molecules, one with the alkyl nitrogen protonated and then of the neutral state, and that's because both of them are available at the pH 7.0. So let me go back to this microstate display I was showing earlier. If we flip back through here for the microstates, and then we get as close as we can to 7.4. So see, when I'm moving the cursor here, this window changes up here. And so if you see, I want to get close to 7.4 as I can, and then double click, and it outputs the fraction ionized. So 97.9 and 2.1, and that's pretty close to these values. I wasn't quite on 7.4, and that's the little bit of differences there. In this final example for the workflow, I wanted to stress the option -S. The -S option specifies to skip microstate whose contribution is below this percentage. So if you specify 50%, any of the microstates that are not above 50% won't get output. So really you're outputting the predominant microstate for the compounds. And then you can use the output, for example, to read in maybe to a docking program to get the compound in the right ionization form for the docking program.